It's been a little while since I've been back to this hive, actually any of the hives, simply because of family and life and things getting busy. So I'm really hoping that everything is okay and all these bees need is a little inspection and some food. Well, I'm encouraged. There's actually bees. I was a little concerned that this hive was not going to do well because it was a swarm capture. And last time I did the inspection, which was a month ago, many of you pointed out that their food stores were not quite sufficient. So I was a little concerned, but I'm encouraged right now because I do see some bees. I could make this bee feeder out of typical pint-sized canning jars. This is 16 ounces. The applesauce jar is slightly larger, a little bit taller and a little bit wider, holds 22 ounces. So in a similar amount of space, I'm going to get 6 more ounces of fluid in the applesauce jar compared to a canning jar. We're going to poke holes in the lid, turn the jar upside down, and the bees are going to take the liquid from the bottom. We're going to start with just a nail as a punch. When the liquid, the sugar water, is put inside this jar and it's turned upside down, the tension of the water alone in these small holes should keep it from leaking out. In here, let's see how they're doing with their food stores, with their eggs, and whatever else we can figure out while we're in here. Lots and lots and lots of pollen. Some nectar. Nothing on that side. A lot of pollen on that side as well. So they're bringing in stores from somewhere. A lot of nectar, a lot of pollen. I don't see any eggs or anything. Of course, it may not be the right time of year to see a whole lot of that. They may just be in a holding pattern. There's some brood. And there's our queen. See her in the middle there? Beautiful. Beautiful. She's big. I can see that queen even still looking down in there. I'm going to push this up in here. It appears that she's very active on the left side or right side over here. They're moving some stores over here, but it's mostly they're active on these frames right here. So let's just do what we came out here to do, which is to give them some feed with these homemade feeders that I made. I want to show you how that happens and how it's going to benefit the bees. So I have my 4 feeders over here. A general purpose feed for bees is 1 part water, 1 part sugar. White sugar, not organic, not special, just plain refined white sugar is the best because it is the cleanest, most absolute, pure source of the sugar for the bees. I have this extra box here, so we're going to take this extra box. This is just a medium box. We're putting it right on top. The inner cover has the hole in the middle. Actually, I decided to put it at a little bit of an angle, which is okay, because one of my sticks is slightly too long and wouldn't fit inside that space for the inner cover. So I'm just going to put it on a little angle here like this. In the lid, I have that pattern, straight down the nail hole pattern, which is just 8 holes. And we're going to put that right down in between like that. So now the bees will come up underneath and drink from the bottom of that lid, and the tension of the water, the syrup, will keep it from leaking out. And here's the last one. Now a little bit of syrup might drip out at first as it gets that tension in the jar, in the lid. But the bees are going to be able to get up there and clean that out. And when I cover this, this will be a protected space for this hive to get all of this syrup without competition from the other hives. Just cover this up. Also, since it's getting a little colder, we're going to do a couple things to help this hive control their own temperature a little easier. This hive right now has a completely open bottom board. Let me give you a look. The screened bottom boards will have often a little shelf or a place for you to be able to slide in some plastic, which will help regulate how much air will go in the bottom of that. So I'm going to close it up most of the way. We're going to leave it just a little bit. It means there's about that much screen on the front side of this hive that will be open for airflow. This is going to do a couple of things. For one, it's going to reduce the amount of air that can go in and out, and it helps them regulate the temperature of their hive themselves. But it's also going to give them a little bit smaller opening, a smaller doorway to protect. Now that I've introduced sugar water to the top of this hive, other bees may smell that and want to come in and rob this hive out. This smaller doorway will help the bees that are here to keep those other bees out of the hive. Now hopefully I just set that hive up for success for the winter with food. Now I will have to come out every once in a while. We'll see whether they drink that all down in a couple days or a week or a couple weeks. I'll have to come back out and check that. But for now, it's nice to know that I gave them a little boost to help them get through the next however many days or weeks, and then we'll give them more later. Also, with closing up that bottom and closing the entrance a little bit, hopefully that gives this hive an easier chance. They'll have to work a little less at protecting the hive and cooling the hive or heating the hive as it gets cold. My son was out here the other day and he told me that he thought one of these hives sounded empty. So we're going to go ahead and go over here to hives 4, 5, and 6 and just pop them open real quick and see if there's any activity. Make sure we haven't lost a hive. The one that he thought sounded empty was this one, hive number 5. So we're going to pop that open first just to check it out. He was also a little concerned because it appears that when I put this one back together, I didn't slide this one back all the way. So there's an opening for other bees or for weather to get in here. Well, there's not a lot of activity. He's right about that. The bees that are in here might just be robbers. I may have lost this one. Yeah, I think this hive is gone. We lost the hive. I'm running very low on battery, so I'm going to wrap this video up. You got to see how I fed the bees, the swarm. You also got to see now that I lost one of my hives. It's hard to say why that happened, but it happened. So now I'm down to 3 hives. Hopefully in the spring I can split them and get back up to 6. Thanks for hanging out with me here on the Daddykirbs Farm. Thank you for following the beekeeping journey. If you like this video, share it, because there is no greater gift that you can give any video creator than to share their video. Thanks again for watching. I'll talk to you soon.